Hey guys, welcome back to the page. Thank you for being here today. If you are new, my name is Sarah. I'm a Christian life coach and content creator. And if you're not new, then welcome back. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you for your support on my community post asking for prayer for Gabriel. I really appreciate it. And yeah, let's just jump right into the video. Okay, so the reason I wanted to share this video is because I tend to try and find things that are more natural for my son, and I also tend to listen to podcasts or read books or just gather advice from other people and other moms, and that has helped me to make a lot of decisions. And so I have had quite a few friends asking like, okay, what did you do for this? What did you do for that? So I just want to share it on here as a mom who obviously is a Christian mom, is someone who is into natural health. And I'm going to share with you guys the things that I did, both in terms of advice. It's like a mixture of advice and products. I'm not going to talk about every single product that I used for Gabriel because I'm just going to talk about the ones that I really liked. And then the other ones to me, like maybe I'm just indifferent to. Yeah, so let's just jump right into it. Okay, so at one point I am going to do a video about what I brought to the hospital only because I think it will be helpful. I don't want to add it into this video because it's going to get too long, but the first category that I'm going to talk about is the newborn stage / hospital, but not about like my hospital bag. So here's some things that I did and some things that I also had wished that I had done, which I will explain. And I'm not going to elaborate too much, otherwise it's going to get too long. So I have it all written down here on my mom's iPad. So I did the delayed cord clamping. So wait until the cord is white if possible, so the baby gets the rest of the blood that is theirs. We did no bath at the hospital and no bath for at least the first week. Obviously we did baby comes out right away onto my chest immediately, not being transferred to anyone in between. So obviously we did the skin to skin. Looking back, I wish that I hadn't even allowed them to weigh him. Like they weighed him maybe 10 minutes later or something like that. But for our second child, I would say like, I don't want them to weigh my child right away because I want that time to be uninterrupted, at least maybe for like that evening. I don't know, 3 hours, whatever it is, but I just want to have my child on me, on my chest, and not being like passed around in the cold in the hospital if it's not necessary. Obviously, if there's like medical intervention, that's very different, but if everything is fine, then that is something that I'm happy that I did, but would even take it a step further. This one is a little bit controversial, so you have to do your own research, but I did some research on the vitamin K shot that they give babies, intramuscular shot, as well as the eye drops, and we opted out of the eye drops and we opted out of the vitamin K shot, but we did get pure vitamin K that is taken orally, and we got that from my functional medicine doctor. So you can, look into it. I watched a documentary on it, just that there are other things in the vitamin K that is given. Obviously you can look into that, ask your doctor about it. And the eye drops for me, I didn't feel were necessary, but again, that depends on if the mom has anything. So this is something that you have to do research on yourself and ask your doctor about, but these are things that I'm happy that we didn't choose. But yeah, I just really want to emphasize that don't just be like, okay, I'm not going to do that because she didn't do that, which is also a reason why I'm not going to talk about like specific vaccines. But in this case, I just wanted to bring up these two things because I feel like a lot of people don't think about them. And again, don't do something because I did it, but just look at like, or even ask the doctor, can I see the list of ingredients that's in the vitamin K that you're distributing? Can I get pure vitamin K from my doctor, functional medicine doctor, naturopathic doctor, etc.? However, you would also have to make sure that you have the vitamin K beforehand so that you can bring it to the hospital, because for Adam and I, we ordered it ahead of time, but they didn't make it because Gabriel was early, and then we didn't have the vitamin K at the hospital, and so we had to wait a couple days, which is not recommended. So anyways, you would want to have it ahead of time. And like I said, I would have just ensured that my skin to skin with Gabriel was more, because I felt like, okay, I was putting him down in the bassinet, like if he was sleeping sometimes, and I just felt like I wished that I had held him the whole, like as much as possible at the hospital. Obviously, if you need to go to the washroom, blah, 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 but sometimes I just had him in the bassinet as I was in my bed, so I would have liked to have held him more. So that would be kind of like, I don't want to say a regret, but something I wasn't as aware of. And also I wouldn't have even had my phone. I mean, I was messaging my parents and I FaceTime my parents because they weren't living in the same province. But if you don't have to have your phone because you're not contacting family, I would literally just put my phone in my bag. Like, I don't need to text anyone to say I just gave birth. The people that need to know that would be the ones coming to the hospital to visit. So, or, you know, your spouse can do that. But yeah, I would have just put my phone away. Something that I would have brought to the hospital / and or bought would have been preemie outfits. Nothing fancy, just one or two, I would say 2 preemie onesies with a preemie cap and a small pack of preemie diapers. Obviously at the hospital, the diapers they're gonna have is gonna fit your baby. But if you guys have noticed, when you go to get newborn stuff, newborn size, it says like 0 to 3 months. It's like massive compared to a newborn baby, depending on the size of your baby. But I find a lot of babies are that preemie size, and nothing we had even remotely fit Gabriel. Like, we were concerned about the newborn outfit we were putting him in because his neck was like going into it. And for the first week of his life, he just like basically was naked with a blanket wrapped around him because we didn't have anything that fit him. So I would have gotten preemie outfits, obviously like a onesie with the double zippers, the ones that you can open up. You definitely want to have the double zippers. And then when we got home from the hospital, we needed to have those diapers that were going to fit him, the preemie ones. And if you're very specific about what diapers you want to use, it might even be helpful to even just bring those diapers to the hospital so that you have the kind that you want. In terms of having visitors at the hospital, that's not something that Adam and I did, but we also didn't have our family in town. But I feel like the less people, the better, coming to the hospital to visit. And when having people over at your home, I know for myself, I didn't want many people to come over, even though I know that obviously they just care and, you know, but I found it to be a time when like I didn't want people to really be in my space. And especially as you're learning how to breastfeed, I found that to be very stressful if anyone stayed or came around the time that you were feeding your baby, because it's just, unless you're comfortable having everything out in front of everybody and trying to breastfeed your baby, then that's fine if those are those types of people that you're close enough to. But that wasn't the case for me, where I could just like have everything out, and I found that to be very stressful and disruptive to my breastfeeding schedule. So yeah, I just feel like I would want to be very specific about who comes over and really limit the visitors as much as possible for, you know, the first couple of weeks or however long honestly you feel like. Obviously have a meal train if possible, unless you have like a big family that's able to cook for you. Ask your church, ask your friend to start a meal train for you. There's literally a website, if you Google it, like meal train, there's an actual website that makes it so easy. And even people from afar can even like purchase a meal for you by sending you a gift card and different things like that. Definitely helpful. And then the last thing about the newborn stage, what I would say is take advantage of the fact that this is going to be the easiest time that you can take your baby out when they are just sleeping all the time, and include your baby in all of the things like date nights. Like Adam and I took Gabriel everywhere with us, even up until now, and he's 13 months old. But especially at that age, I just thought it was so nice. Gabriel was born like a few weeks before Valentine's Day, so Adam and I like had a gift card for this cafe, and we went with Gabriel and we got dressed up and basically just like really enjoy that time, like you and your little family. And for me personally, like I didn't want to spend any time away from him. Like I really didn't. Obviously it's different when somebody comes over and they can hold the baby while you take a shower and things like that. But I just wanted to be as close to him as much as possible, with still having the relief of being able to shower and go to the bathroom and different things like that. But yeah, it's just a very easy stage to take them out. And so I would say just like enjoy that stage where it's very easy to take them to restaurants and cafes and places. And yeah, for me, it was just about like soaking up my time with my family. And I wasn't feeling well during that time because I was still going through the fatigue. And one of my friends from church said, you have nowhere to go and nothing to do and nobody to see. Your priority is just like you and your baby. So if you're just like in bed sleeping with him all day, that's exactly what you should be doing. Okay, next one is going to be books / podcasts, videos that I would recommend. There is a podcast episode with Lila Rose and Dr. Bob Sears, and it's about vaccinations. So prior to that, because that came out only recently, but prior to that, I had listened to the Candace Owens documentary on vaccines, and I wanted to obviously, like, that wasn't the only thing that I listened to about vaccines, but I felt that that was very, very strong one way. So I also wanted to hear from someone who was like a doctor and things like that. I read other things in between, other resources in between. There's an Instagram account called Just the Inserts, I believe. And also, if you go to Jordan Lee Dooley's Instagram page, she has some kind of link to a vaccine course that you can take. It does cost money, but it is highly recommended. Apparently, I haven't taken that one. But even Dr. Bob Sears said that if you aren't able to read his book, you can just go and listen to his podcast episodes. And he really talks about the risks versus the benefits and things like that. And obviously, that is all I will say about that. I'm not going to go into specific detail, but that's something that I would highly recommend people to listen to, even if basically just not just going with like just a schedule that the doctors are throwing at you. It's up to you, but it's good to be informed about what you're doing. There's also a book that I'm currently reading right now called Being There by Erica Komisar. But again, honestly, I don't even feel that you need to read this book. You can just go and listen, go and type in Erica Komisar, maybe I'm saying that wrong, Lila Rose, and you'll see they do a podcast together, but Erica's on so many people's podcasts, and you can just hear about the significance of being close to your child in the first 3 years. And it just really shaped and changed how I thought. When you hear these perspectives and how things are really done in other countries aside from North America. And I just found that really helped shape my perspective. Another book that I have not read, but I plan to read and everyone keeps recommending, is called Hold On to Your Kids. So I definitely want to read that. I'm assuming it would be like a similar vibe to the Being There book, but I'm not 100%. But yeah, once again, like, you don't need to go and read like every single one of these books. You can also listen to podcast episodes and you'll get an idea of the information. Last thing when it comes to books is my friend gifted me this book. I don't have it here, it's in storage. It's literally just like Your Baby Week by Week. So if you Google book Your Baby Week by Week, there's probably multiple different ones. There wasn't any particular one that I recommended. It's just that I found it to be extremely helpful and absolutely not overwhelming, because these types of books, you only have to read one chapter a week, and it's not a long chapter. It's just like a summary of what your baby's going through right now, their development, what they need, what they approximately, how long they should be sleeping, how much they should be drinking, different things like that. And I just found having a book, Your Baby Week by Week, was super, super helpful. Very underwhelming, which was great. And because you're not gonna remember, like, your baby keeps changing every week. So how are you gonna read a book and remember everything? And then my friend also gave me another book, which was like Your Baby's First Year of Life, which, to be honest, I haven't read the whole thing, but in that beginning stage, I really appreciated that, Your Baby Week by Week. Okay, so now I'm gonna talk about feeding, breastfeeding, supplements, different things like that. First thing is that I wish that I had gotten a hospital grade pump. Some of these pumps that are portable that you just put in your bra and walk around, these work for some people, maybe especially if you, haven't had an issue with your letdown. But for me personally, I wish that I had gotten a hospital grade pump. And it doesn't mean you have to buy one. You can just rent one from a drugstore near you. You have to buy the parts, obviously, which was like about $100, and then you pay to rent the machine. And for me personally, this gave me like a proper letdown, and so I wish that I had gotten a hospital grade pump. But then again, some lactation consultants say don't even touch a pump until you're certain weeks old. I think it is depend on the person. But with that being said, I would also recommend to have a lactation consultant, so that way you can, if you're having trouble with latching and different things like that, just knowing who you're going to go to. The place we went to for our midwife, they had a lactation consultant there, so it was very easy to sign up with her and get a session. So that hospital grade pump, and having a lactation tincture, just Google lactation tincture. There wasn't one particular one that I found to be like amazing, but it has the vitamins and nutrients that will help more if you're not producing enough or you want to be producing more. Next thing would be to have a can of formula before the baby is born, just in case breastfeeding doesn't work out and then suddenly they need formula and you have to go to the drugstore and get this one that has a lot of like gross stuff in it that, in my opinion, the baby shouldn't be given, depending on the brand. So that's what happened to us with Gabriel, is he needed formula, and praise the Lord, I had a can already. Otherwise, they were just trying to get me to go to the drugstore, which obviously the baby being fed is better than anything, but thankfully I had this can. So the one that I was using and that I really liked and that I recommended out of all of them so far was HIP, HIPP, HIP goat, and then like stage whatever your baby is at. I was using Holle, HOLLE, goat. However, I saw an article about it testing very high for heavy metals, and then I switched because I chose that one because I think that they claim to not have heavy metals. Anyway, so we switched over to HIP. Then I found a milk in the US, which I thought was really great. It doesn't ship to Canada. It's called Sammy's. It's like Sammy's goat milk. I know for sure they have it for toddler, like or age 1 over, and I think they might have it for younger, but I'm not sure. I thought that those were really good, along with, you know, when you have the formula, this would be like a luxury to do this, but you can get those baby Bariza or whatever, those little machines. It looks like a little coffee machine, and it just makes the bottles, like the milk for you. Maybe it's called Baby Bariza. I'm not sure. I don't have one, but it makes it a lot easier to prepare formula as opposed to having to do the temperature yourself and everything. But that's how Adam and I did it anyways. And if I didn't have one of those machines, which I didn't, what I did do is, if you look up formula dispensers, there's these like little formula dispensers that you can just put the amount of scoops into, and then we just had those filled on our counter so that we weren't like counting scoops every single time, or especially when you're out having to count scoops with like a big container. So we would just like put them into these dispensers and even use it like that at home. Now, something that I am going to add to this is that as much as I found the cleanest formula that I could find, it still had stuff in it that I didn't want in there, and I was like, why is that in there? And so what I have done recently, which I think I would probably do for a newborn, but however, I'd have to double check with my functional medicine doctor if this is okay. This is what I started doing now. So I started just buying organic goat milk. In Canada, it's pasteurized. It's hard to get unpasteurized. And I don't know yet what I would go for. Well, I'm not even gonna talk about a newborn baby, but my son is 13 months old. I haven't like dived into the pasteurized versus unpasteurized enough yet. I spoke to my functional medicine doctor and she said she didn't notice a big difference in terms of like allergies and intolerances and things like that. I think for adults, unpasteurized is better. I just don't know because I think there can be like some risk with children. Anyways, so we currently are having organic pasteurized goat milk. And if the baby's younger, you just Google like how much, or ask your doctor how much you need to water it down, like have a little bit of water within the milk. But this was what was important, is that I started buying vitamins again. This is advice from my functional medicine doctor. So she told me to basically get omega fish oil, which she told me a particular brand. I can put the link below. She told me to get iron, and he already has vitamin D, and he already has a probiotic. So those are the vitamins that I have for him, that I give to him throughout the week, and then I give him his milk. So then basically the nutrients that were in the formula are now being given through supplements, which has been saving us a tremendous amount of money because we were spending like $300 or more on formula a month, and now we're spending way less. However, the reason why I'm not 100% sure on what age to do this at is because Gabriel's eating food. So he is getting a lot of nutrients from food. And I went over the food with my functional medicine doctor, and she was like, he eats really healthy. So these are the vitamins that I would get, but he's getting nutrients from his food. Basically, she was saying like he's not eating a really unhealthy food. Like he's not eating chicken nuggets all day and then having some milk that doesn't have any nutrients in it. So what I would do is, if you work with a naturopath or functional medicine doctor, you could ask them, depending on your baby's age and depending on are they eating solids right now, would it be sufficient for me to have this milk and then just supplement with some of these vitamins? Because obviously the formula is fortified with vitamins, but I find it to be very overpriced. For having baby on solids, my functional medicine doctor gave me a recipe, which was a liver recipe, like chicken, or I think it was a beef liver recipe, which I can put it below. I don't have the 100% exact measurements, but I have roughly. And basically she was saying like root vegetables, bone broth, beef liver, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, different things like that. I'll put it below. And that is what I made Gabriel for the first couple of months when he was eating solids. then it honestly became too much for me to be making all of my own baby food. There is this brand that I absolutely love called Serenity Kids. I don't even know if you can get it in Canada. It is just so good. I don't like all the baby foods that have so much fruit in them because it is still sugar, and so it's just like very, just so fruity, like bananas, mangoes, just so fruity. And he does eat fruit, but it's just that I didn't want all of his meals to be like that. And I love the Serenity Kids one that's like organic salmon with extra virgin cold pressed olive oil. That's it. And I find at that age, when they're younger, they will just eat that food because that's what they're being introduced to. So Serenity Kids was just so healthy and had so many good options. Absolutely loved it. I'm always checking the ingredients, and that's what I'm looking for in my baby food, is it for it to be clean. I know Once Upon a Farm is also really good. It's just that for me, it did have a lot of fruit in it, and I found there to be other brands. I went to this like organic store in the US in California, and they had multiple different brands. There's just way bigger of a selection there, and probably like in Europe and other parts of the world than there is in Canada, at least that I could find. But yeah, if you have any recommendations for any of these things, please put them below, because I would love to hear if you found like a formula or baby food or anything like that, even any of the products that I'm mentioning that you would highly recommend. The last thing that I'll say about food is that, as you guys know, I'm practicing eating very healthy. You can watch one of my videos. I can link it up here. It's something about, I'm not sure. Anyways, I'm going to put it up here. It's about food. And then if you have some sort of like blender or magic bullet or something like that, once your baby's at the age that, you know, he's kind of just eating different things, just taking the meal that you're eating because it's healthy and then just blending it or giving it a couple blends depending on how chunky it needs to be. And then that way, that's what your baby's eating. Your baby is eating what you are eating. So it's a lot more simple. So now we're going to diapers and skincare. For diaper cream, Earth Mama diaper cream. I've also used the doTERRA diaper cream. I'll be honest, when Gabriel has had a very bad diaper rash, I found that those were not as helpful. I found them good in preventing a diaper rash, but when it's like a full-blown really bad diaper rash, I did have to go to the doctor and get like one of those antibiotic one when it was really bad, and you know, it started to turn a little bit, / using some Vaseline for the moisture barrier to like keep things dry. But that's not something that I would use every day. That was just like, if I see a diaper rash happening, then I would use that to prevent it. But I just want to have like a clean one, like the Earth Mama or the doTERRA one. I did try Coterie diapers. I think from what I know, those are like one of the cleanest diapers on the market. However, any of these clean diapers that Gabriel has tried, for some reason, he has reacted to. I'm not sure why, but I know that not every baby is going to react to every single one of these diapers. We tried the Coterie one, which I really, really liked, but it wasn't working for Gabriel. I tried this one called Natty, N-A-T-Y. That one worked for him for a while, and I really, really liked it. And then he started getting like kind of a rash from it. Again, just look at the reviews, because I didn't see many people saying their baby got a rash from these diapers. Honest diapers, I also liked, but again, I don't know why. I think some of them, maybe because they're like plant-based or something was irritating him. So unfortunately, we have not been able to stick to any super clean diapers. The only diaper we've been able to use is Huggies Skin Essentials, and that one is cleaner than some of them, but it still has stuff in it like bleach and different things like that that are not the best. But I just have not been able to get him in a different diaper. Water wipes for wet wipes, obviously. Pure almond oil for moisturizing Gabriel after the bath. There's a Canadian brand called Attitude, and I have been using their baby, it usually says baby leaves on it, and I've been using their baby like 2-in-1 shampoo and body wash. I just find that easier to have one bottle. So that is clean and gentle. But again, if you have a recommendation for any of these things, please let me know. Okay, so here's what I have to say about baby products and baby gear. Like I said, I'm not going to name every single thing that we used for Gabriel, but I will say the things that I did recommend. First of all, you don't even need to buy your baby much clothes or toys. I think I probably wouldn't have bought Gabriel nearly anything, because people are just always going to gift you toys and clothes. You're going to have a lot of them, and babies actually prefer everything else other than toys. They just want literally anything else than toys. They want keys, they want wooden spoons. You just don't need to buy toys. This is actually Gabriel's favorite thing, is my coffee cup. Whenever I come in with a coffee cup, I have to finish my coffee or pour it in a different mug, and he loves to play. This is his favorite thing, is to play with the lid and with the cup. I would also say that I would have been more slow to purchase things that are like, okay, our baby needs this right now, or it's kind of gimmicky. For example, like, you know, one of those little baby food dispensers that they have to squish to get the food out, like just these random things, or like teething rings, like just different things like that. I would be slower to be like, oh, our baby needs this, let's purchase it, and try to find an alternative of what you could use instead, because oftentimes we either wouldn't use it. Like Gabriel did not want anything to do with the teething rings that we bought him, and we had like 2 big packs of them, and other things he would hold on for a bit, and then within a day he was done with it. And that's been the same thing with toys as well. When baby gets heavier, for me it was like less than a year old, I bought one of those hip carriers. You can just type into Amazon hip carrier. I wear it all day, every day. It saves my back, and I'm picking him up all the time, so highly recommend. Obviously when they're younger they can go in those like soft carriers, but they're easier to carry around, and as he's gotten older and heavier, hip carrier has really saved me. Something I never got and I still don't have, and I highly regret and I highly recommend, is a rocking chair. Better if it's a reclining rocking chair. That's the absolute best scenario. Even if you can get a cheap one off of Facebook Marketplace, a cheap used one, even if it's hideous, doesn't even matter. Maybe you can just cover it with like a couch cover or something like that. At the least, just get a wooden rocking chair and put a pillow behind your back. Yes, that's all I'm gonna say, is I would have gotten a rocking chair, specifically a reclining one. Now we're not living in our own house yet, so anyways, please do yourself a favor and save your back and your standing and your arms and sit in a rocking chair. Swaddles with the Velcro. The swaddles that have the Velcro already attached to them. Something like a Maxi Cozy baby bouncer. We got ours off of Facebook Marketplace used. For me, that was like a highly recommended thing. Okay, here's a random thing. If you don't have, which I didn't, if you don't have one of those like expensive bassinets that does like the motion and stuff like that, there's this thing called a RockIt. It literally looks like a little rocket ship that we got off of Amazon, and it vibrates. It can clip onto anything. It can clip onto the car seat. It can clip onto the stroller, onto your baby bouncer, onto your crib, onto your bassinet. You can get these extra attachments for it, and you can speed up or slow down. And that really either would allow Gabriel to fall asleep or would keep him entertained when he was sitting in any of those things. I like it because it's portable and you can just attach it. And so basically it's always going to give your baby like a little rock. Obviously we wouldn't have it on like 24/7, but if he's starting to cry a little bit or getting fussy or not falling asleep. I do recommend getting a baby monitor. Obviously you don't have to have a baby monitor, but even the thing is as your baby starts to get older and they get into that stage of like starting to climb out of their crib and things like that. And Adam and I did not want to have a Wi-Fi one because we turn our Wi-Fi off at night, and we also didn't want like, I don't know, there's that weird stuff about like hacking monitors or something like that. So the one that we use is Hello Baby. I'll actually show you guys the monitor. So we still have like the sticky thing on here, but this is the baby monitor. This is one of the cameras. They actually sent this to us. We had originally purchased it, and then they sent us like the newest version of it. It can connect to 4 cameras. We have 2 cameras. We actually have 2 old cameras as well. But I just feel like it just gives you that peace of mind. And then for me, the biggest thing was it not being a Wi-Fi monitor. Next thing would be having a sound machine. I just have this in my hand. I just got a portable sound machine because I was thinking like, oh, I'll get a portable one and then I'll get a stationary one. But it's like, this comes with this ring that I would take this out and put it in my stroller. And it also has, aside from the sound machine noises, it has like really nice soothing noises. This one is called Dream Egg that I got off of Amazon. I also got the Hello Baby monitor off of Amazon as well. And we just waited until we saw deals, like Black Friday deals or just something is on sale. And so highly recommend. I will put the Hello Baby link below. Quick thing that I'll just say about clothing / sleep situations. Obviously you always hear this, but it is so true. Onesies with the double zipper. Onesies that have like the footies and the double zipper, and even better if they have the fold that goes over the baby's hands so that you don't have to keep putting on mitts and that they are not scratching themselves. After Gabriel transitioned from wearing swaddles, what I really like is this brand called It's Ergo Pouch Australia, and this is a sleep sack. And the reason why I like this brand is because it's 100% cotton. I think it's like organic cotton, and it's actually so hard to find a full sleep sack that has the arms and everything that is cotton, because we've bought really cute ones before, but they were polyester fill or some kind of fill that was like plasticky, and Gabriel would just wake up absolutely sweating. So I love like the organic cotton ones. Highly recommend. I'm just going to quickly read a couple things off here about health and a couple products. So I use a baby probiotic called BioGaia, I think. I can put it below. And it's a probiotic with a vitamin D. There's a brand called Earthly. If you type in teething Earthly onto Amazon, that has cloves in it for teething. For baby teething gel, we used Baby Oragel and Wink Cool Gums. Saline nasal boogie spray mist. If you type in like boogie spray saline into Amazon, that just helps to loosen everything up, and it's just pure saline. Also those like booger suckers as well. I got a cheap nebulizer off of Amazon, and then I just had to get pure saline from a compounding place for whenever your baby is congested and they can't blow their nose, but just holding that steam in front of them. So having like a portable nebulizer was very helpful, and it was really cheap on Amazon. And then the last thing I'll say about products is having a car seat that fits into your stroller, because transferring your baby constantly when they're sleeping, when they're out in the car seat, into the stroller, back out of the stroller, into the car seat, back into their bed is just too much. Okay, so last couple things, I'm going to talk about some lifestyle things and then some bonding things, and then we're going to be done. So obviously in the summer months, it's easier to get outside, to find a mom group especially through your church or a church, or get a group of friends together every week. Maybe you have friends that have kids. Make sure that you get outside and you go to the park, put a blanket down, you're all sitting outside, it's all good. But if you live in a place where it's a colder climate, which I do in Canada, so it's not warm all summer long, something that was really, really important for me to find was a place indoors for my baby to play, even when he was very, very small. The mall has these types of places. However, if you don't always want to be spending money every time, which some malls have free places for babies to play and some do not, you can look up like free child play, different things like that. For example, in Ontario, there is a program called Early On, and in Vancouver, British Columbia, there is a program called Strong Start. And these are free programs that you get to go indoors and play with your kids. It's basically like you're taking them to like play school, but the parent is there and you get to play with all the stuff, and they are free, which is amazing. We've been going to them in Vancouver. We've been going to them in Ontario. Highly, highly recommend. This was like my saving grace. And even to be able to meet with friends, like I would go to the mall and take my friend with me to like this play place, and we would get a coffee and we'd sit, and you know, your baby can crawl around and play. So much easier. But yeah, also having that community by finding a mom group, creating one yourself, or getting connected with your friends that have babies. Quick other thing that I would say is just making sure that you are putting your child's needs first. Obviously, that would be an obvious thing, but sometimes, you know, when you're out with people and you look at the time and you realize it's going into your child's nap. So for me, it was just important to put up boundaries of like, this is when my child takes a nap, so this is when I have to go, or this is when he eats, so I have to go, and like, sorry, I have to interrupt the conversation, but like, I need to go feed my son, or I need to go home, or whatever it is, as opposed to getting caught up in socializing and like pushing their needs. I know that sometimes that can happen a little bit, but I think that that was something that has been really important that I've been learning. The last thing that I would say, which to be honest, there's so many more things that I could say and so many more products that I could talk about. If I remember more things, I'll put a little pin below and I will list it. But the last couple things that I would say is praying over your child every single night and taking that time as well when you're with them, putting them to sleep, to have time with God. Honestly, that was when the Lord spoke to me the most, was when I was sitting in a chair in the dark in Gabriel's room, putting him to sleep for nighttime, whatever it was. I just kept getting downloads from the Holy Spirit during that time, really strongly speaking to me. So instead of just sitting there like, oh, like, you know, take that time to pray over your child, take that time to spend time with the Lord. If possible, rest when your baby is resting. I know that, you know, I know that people talk about like, oh, sleep when the baby sleeps, so ridiculous. It is ridiculous. probably if you have other children, that's probably not gonna be possible depending on what their schedules are, unless your kids nap at the same time. And obviously, yes, there is housework that has to be done, but there can be some naps where it is possible to rest, and it is possible to take maybe some things that you don't have to do. And I would try as much as possible to just rest a lot of time, especially if I had a really bad night, as I would take a nap with Gabriel on his first nap, and just enjoying that time that he gets to bond and be laying on me and sleeping. And even to this day, I do that. I took a nap with him, a full nap. He slept in this bed with me just a couple days ago, and then on the same day I had him sleep on me for half of his nap, and I would highly recommend that. The last thing that I would say is just remember, in the beginning newborn stage, as much as it might be challenging in the newborn stage, remembering that it's actually really difficult for your baby because they are experiencing all these things for the first time. This is what this really amazing Christian doula said to me. She said, like, your baby is experiencing hunger for the first time, feeling cold, feeling tired, having a wet diaper. When they were in the womb, they didn't have to experience any of these things. It was like, you know, they were in a 5-star resort, and now they've actually, I don't want to say they downgraded when they came out, but there are challenges for them. And just remembering that it's not easy for them. They're experiencing these things for the very first time. I know that after this video, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, I forgot a million things. So once again, I'll put more things below. If you have any recommendations of any of the things that I said, please put them below. I know that every baby is different, but you know, these are just things that worked for me. Also, I would also quickly add that something that I did in the newborn stage, this is very random, but something that I did in the newborn stage, when I was like hungry in between meals and I couldn't always be snacking, I would recommend to snack and eat as much as you can. But sometimes I just couldn't grab a snack. Instead of like eating a bag of chips or eating like a handful of crackers that didn't have any nutrients, I have like a really healthy raw organic protein powder by Garden of Life, I think. And I would just take a scoop of that, put it into some water, mix it around, and just chug it. Because I mean, I also didn't have family around, and it was mostly Adam and I. But anyways, I'd recommend to eat, but it's just that instead of just grabbing something that has no nutrients in it, that's something that was helpful, or throwing some greens powder in it, you know, shaking it up, and then just having that in between. So that's a really random note to end this on. But that's what I have to say. As usual, thank you guys so much for watching, liking, subscribing, sharing, and I always say this in all of my videos, but I am a Christian life coach and I run an online course which is called NowBloom Academy. So if you're interested in becoming a Christian life coach, either in the live cohort, which is going to be happening later this year, or in the self-paced course, you can sign up for that, as well as Coach Misha also has a program which is a small inner healing group for women only. And both Mina and Misha, who are coaches with NowBloom, offer one-on-one sessions. So you can see all the links below. And thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.